Oh my goodness, you have so much courage. You made it to day 4. I bless you. You bless me. We bless each other. Yes. Because all boats do rise on this tide of love. And the work that we're doing in this challenge to end our self sabotage is powerful. And it makes a difference to everyone. So kudos to you. Kudos to us that we're doing this. Now, today is going to bring you the worksheet that's going to take you deeper into an understanding of your own experience of self-medication. So you're going to be looking at your routine because we all have our routines around our self-medication and self-sabotage of all kinds. So let's get into the nitty-gritty, because as I said yesterday, awareness is curative. It's deeply healing, right? We're bringing things to the light by looking at them with our attention. We're also communicating to ourselves that we are worth our attention, that we are loving and lovable, that we are willing to love ourselves enough to pay attention to what's really going on in our heart, in our mind, in our life, in our body, in our circumstances, and what is our decision-making process when we go into self-medication and self-sabotage. So really looking at what is your process. So for me, I can just tell you some of the things about my process. One of the things was I didn't want to talk with anybody else. I didn't want to have anybody else around because I felt ashamed and I wanted to isolate and be alone. So that was one thing. I really never fell into self-medication like day drinking and stuff like that. That was not my thing. My thing was at night. And so maybe the earliest I would begin would be 6 o'clock. I'd start with drinking, overeating. It could be, like in the latter part of my self-medication, it was just maybe food and television. But before it was alcohol, cigarettes, food, television. It could, even when I started out, involve talking on the phone. I guess when I really started out, yes, I was with other people. But then when I became a spiritual student and I became really dedicated to that, then no, I labeled self-medicating and getting, drinking too much or eating too much or any of that kind of thing, binging. I didn't want anybody else around. And I think most people are kind of like that too. We don't want other people to see us and judge us, because we're already judging ourselves to the maximum load, which is, hello, why we're self-medicating in the first place. So when you're writing about your process in the worksheet, put all judgment aside. You're doing this out of love for yourself. You're doing this out of love for God so that you can clear the pathway to your connection with spirit. I was just talking with someone the other day who was telling me that this year they finally had a breakthrough. This past year, they finally had a breakthrough of feeling like they really had a connection with spirit. They had a relationship with spirit, that the practices they did in Masterful Living really built that up for them. And I hear that every year. And one of the ways that I like to work is I like to work both sides of the equation, okay? And I talk about it as a spiritual budget, that if, let's say, you're deficit spending, and when we're sabotaging a lot and we're self-medicating a lot, in a sense, we're deficit spending. We're really depleting our energy and using our resources in unhealthy ways. So to gain the most ground quickly, we want to work both sides of the equation. So if you're deficit spending with money, the best way to get from the red into the black is to start to earn more money, bring more money coming in, less money going out, right? And then you're going to be able to pay down your debts. And it works the same way for us spiritually. Bring more love coming in, more spirit coming in, and sending less of our energy out into things that are depleting and don't help us and don't support us and bring us to a place of self-judgment, self-recrimination. So this is why it's so valuable to eliminate the self-medication and the self-sabotage. And the only way I know that really works is through self-love. And that's why being in the group homework sessions is so valuable, because that's how you really can get that it's not just you. A lot of other people are feeling almost the same way you are. They're doing almost the same things you are. And they are also ashamed and afraid to talk about it, and they're judging themselves tremendously. So when we can join together and do this work, we can get compassion and understanding from each other. We can recognize we are so not alone, even though we feel alone inside our habits and our patterns. For me, the deepening spiritual practice and the connection with spirit is so much about eliminating and interrupting the patterns of negativity, the patterns of self-sabotage and self-medication, the patterns of judgment, of lack, attack, limitation, and separation. That's why in Masterful Living we spend almost the whole year working on interrupting these patterns. The more we interrupt them and the more we choose love, the more we choose God, the more healing we have, the faster we have it. So let's work both sides of the equation, both sides of our budget. More love, more spirit coming in, less energy being invested in things that are not worthy of our investment. No self-judgment. So that's the other thing. When you're really looking at your process deeply, write as much detail as you can, because in the future, when you start feeling that energetic pull to go into self-medication, to go into the pattern, you'll realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm being magnetically pulled into the pattern. I can put the brakes on that right here, right now. Yes. And that's something we do really put energy into in Masterful Living, is how to make that U-turn. Yes, it's so valuable. I never thought I would have the strength and the courage and the ability to do that, but I learned to do a U-turn, and you can too. And I'm so grateful to help you with it. So be as transparent as you can. Do come to the group homework session. Share your process and patterns. Write it down as much as you can. Get that awareness, because that's going to help you interrupt the patterns in the future, and that's going to help you put the patterns behind you so that they're not running your life anymore. Spirit is running your life. You are running your life. You are pure spirit, and we are not victims of these patterns. We are having a healing, and we have the courage to get her done, and we're doing it. I love you. Mwah.